David Saffin, how are you, Sunrun?
Good.
Busy. A lot of
Right
our
now,
listeners
crazy.
are taking advantage of your service.
They are.
Fire away, man.
Some of the things I want to talk about is the main thing is company quality. There's a lot of companies out there in the solar business. Some are fly by night, some aren't. Most of the contracts out there are 25 years. Ours are 15 years. And so I always tell people, look, you're going to have these panels on your house for a long time. So you want to have a company that is solid, that's going to be there, that's always going to help you. You don't want a company that's going to be out the next year, and then who are you going to call if you ever have a problem? So, aside from the fact that we've been in business since 2007, so almost 30 years, we're the only company out there that has a A+ Better Business Bureau rating. We're totally vertically integrated, so we don't contract work out. Unless you need a new roof, we're not roofers. We're not those kind of subcase. But everything else we do internally. We design the systems, we build the systems, monitor and maintenance, the whole thing. And so, being totally vertically integrated, we're a better service to our customers. I always like to say that, I'm the one that's really your main customer service contact. Because even though we do have a customer service department, it's centrally located because we have 1.2 million customers throughout the whole country. They're not really designed to know everything about specific areas or customers, where I'm in touch with those customers directly. I think people want that personalized service. And so I make sure that they all have my numbers. So if there's ever a problem, hopefully I can troubleshoot it or I can get to the bottom of it pretty quickly. So, that's a big part of it as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot.
The Trump administration has done everything in their power to kill all the tax subsidies.
Yep.
For for solars and try to make everybody believe that solar is horrible, even though China's putting up solar fields like crazy.
Yeah. Global warming doesn't exist.
Well, I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying that there are other countries capitalizing on it, and for some reason it's horrible here in the United States. What are there still advantages? Cost-wise, how can our listeners, if they qualify, right? Because if you live under a tree with no southern exposure, I guess that's where you want,
It's not just about southern exposure. I mean, obviously, if you have a lot of shade, it's not going to work out. And in a case like that, you might want to go with like a community solar program. But if you do have some sunlight or good exposure, then we're a good option for you. We basically operate these days under what we call a power purchase agreement or a solar lease. So even though we do purchases, I've sold very few of them. There's a very small market for that, especially because the current administration got rid of the subsidies on purchase. But we were able to keep the subsidies in on a solar lease. And so what that means is between federal, state, and local, there is enough subsidies that cover a lot of that cost. So when I meet with people, there's no upfront cost for this. So we'll usually do a cost comparison. We'll put a spreadsheet together, show them what their savings is, but we don't ask them for any money up front.
Okay. So if they go ahead and it makes sense to put it on their home, okay, and they think they're going to live there for the rest of their life, and one of the 5, D's happen: diapers, death, divorce, downsizing, and debt, right? Death, those are the 5.
I got you.
Something happens and they have to move, right? And they have solar panels all over their roof, and they've been taking advantage of the amazing, benefits. Their electric costs went down. They got the battery back up, so when the power goes out, they got their own generator built in. What if the new owner doesn't want the solar for whatever reason, right? They don't want it. They don't like the look. They don't, they don't believe whatever. They want it out. Where does the cost come into play?
I get that question all the time. I mean, technically speaking, if it's the first person that ever says that, then legally speaking, the homeowner is going to be responsible for whatever cost is left in that lease. But the reason that it never happens is because with rates going up as much as they have, what do you think are the chances that somebody buying that house is going to say, well, I don't want those panels, but I'm willing to pay 2 times or 3 times for my power and go back to the utility. And especially if it's designed properly where it looks nice and maybe isn't on the front of the house if it's possible, there shouldn't be an objection. And that's one of the things I do. I'm very aesthetically minded. I'm the president of my association in Vernon Hills. So, I care a lot about that, and I design people's houses as if it was my own. So if it's designed properly, then there should never be a problem. But it's also, like I said, it's a value proposition. So you can't say it adds value because you don't own the system, but it's a value proposition. So when you have a buyer for that house, you can show them the numbers. Say, look, here's how much you're paying for your power. You could be saving X amount of dollars.
So is it like a lease payment then that they're paying to Sun, or is it coming?
It's kind of technically. We base it on a cost per kilowatt hour, just like ComEd does, so it's easy for them to understand.
Okay.
But technically, it's called a solar lease.
All right. So we learned, I think last week, Mark Milstein was in here with Think Plus talking about battery backups and how his company is giving them complimentary. And it runs like a free a complimentary generator, blah blah blah. Okay. So how does it work with you? If so, the average home is using about 8,000 to 10,000 kilowatt hours a year, right? That's what I learned.
Yep, that's correct.
During last week's show. So if they're using 8,000 to 10,000 kilowatt hours a year, is that it's taken off of their? Is it off of the amount that they're saving? They're paying you for the lease, or how does that work? I mean, where does the money's got to come from someplace to put that system up on the house?
Sure.
So is it paid monthly? How does it work?
So that's a tough question. There's a lot of questions into what you're asking.
I didn't mean to slam.
What I can tell you is that Sunrun, as the largest residential solar company in the country, we are about 60% of the battery business in the United States.
Okay.
So whoever we get those batteries from, we have a couple of suppliers. We buy them much cheaper than the average person can, and then there's a subsidy from the state that we get. So the cost for our batteries is low enough where we can include that. We're the only company that will not build a system without a battery, and it'll take me a long time to go into why. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on that, but it's mainly a storage device, but there's also a backup. And so we can afford to add that to the system so that you're still saving money on your electric costs, but you'll never lose power.
Okay. So, but it gets to, and the guy 773 would like you to talk slower. And that guy is usually telling me
I'm on a time crunch,
not to yell. So, okay, I get it. So if the backup power, but on the leasing side, right? How long is a typical lease? Is it
15 years.
It's a 15-year lease. Then what happens at the end of the 15 years?
End of 15 years, you have a few options. You can get rid of the system. We'll take it off, plug up the holes in your roof. You got a clean slate, whatever you want to do. You could buy the system. Most people won't do that. Some of our leases are starting to come due, and we're finding that most people are saying, look, technology's changed.
Right.
Show us what the new technology is. And if you choose to re-up and do another agreement, we're going to take the old system off, decide whether or not the roof needs repairing or replacing, and then we'll put a new system on.
Okay, that's fair. And if
again, no upfront cost.
No upfront cost, but it's a 15-year commitment.
It is now, yes.
And everything typically comes with a backup battery. Are the batteries?
They all do, yes.
Are the batteries inside the house?
Outside.
Outside the
all
house.
All outside now.
Can't put them on the inside of the house.
Yeah, all of the batteries today are designed to be outside the house. It's easier to install, but it's also for safety reasons.
Are the batteries, when they're fully charged and the power goes out, because this was a question last week for Mark, right? Just want to, the backup batteries are, we're talking the battery king over here next to you, Roy Spencer. But if you don't sell that power back to the utilities if there's an outage, that stored power in the batteries is 100% dedicated and allocated to the homeowner until the battery comes back on. Is that a safe?
Well, yeah, and the battery doesn't have to be fully charged to give you power in a backup or whatever. Yeah, I mean, the battery is there to give power, and it's not going to disperse power to the grid if your house needs that power.
And that's the same thing with that Mark said, and there was some confusion on that. So if the power goes out, and it goes out basically multiple times a year in this listening area, especially on the south side where we had that
with the weather
tornado come through. Forget about it. I golfed at Hickory Hills Golf Course 3 weeks ago. It came right through the golf course. Unbelievable.
Right. Or Southern Illinois got hit pretty hard.
The entire state's going to get hit, and we're going to lose power. If you go through the year without losing power, it's been a good year. Good luck. Okay, buy a lottery ticket because you're the luckiest human on the planet. But again, if and when the power goes out for whatever reason, the power that's stored in the battery in your system and in the other guy's system last week is dedicated 100% to you until the battery runs out.
That's correct. Virtually, yes.
Okay.
There's one little caveat to that where there's something called distributed power plants. Long story, but ComEd's working on a program where they'll be able to pay you to be able to buy some of that power at certain peak hours of the day. But they're not going to take that when your house needs it.
I don't care about that. I get that, but you're making money off of that, and that's fine. But if the power's out and there's no juice running into your house
has power.
That house has power, and your battery is your juice
dedicated,
and it's going to dedicate to you until the battery either runs out or the power comes on.
Correct.
Okay, phone number for our listeners who want to reach out.
224-458-7868.
All right,
Hopefully that's slow enough.
One more time.
224-458-7868 or go sunrun.com/WGN.